Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, baby.
Mhm.
All right. Here we are. Oh my gosh. I'm going to leave the comments open over on YouTube, Adriana, so that I can see
Okay.
people.
I was going to
Uh,
ask that. If anyone asks,
yeah.
how do I see that?
How do you see that? Well, you could join on YouTube as well if you want, except we always have to worry about echoes, right? People on
Oh, yeah.
YouTube, you're like, dude, I can hear you 3 times. So,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, you YouTubers showing up. I'm so excited to have Adriana here with us today. You guys, as you know, am the woo-woo coach that's very practical. It's like this awesome combo, I think, of like massive data. Like, what are
Hmm.
your open rates? What's happening? What do people respond
Hmm.
to? And
Yep.
what's your gut say? Right. It's like this awesome combo. And Adriana, you guys, is one of the people who has really helped me learn this and study this. And I guess sort of like open my mind to how much is actually going on that we may not be aware of. Is that a good way to say it, Adriana?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm. All
Okay.
the energies at play.
Ooh, I love that. You know, when people
Mm.
always say, "What about this astrology thing?" Like all the things that are that affect us, right? And I'm like, "Have you seen what the moon does to the ocean? Like, have you seen that?" And like, we're like 98% water or whatever the heck. I'm like, something's
Yeah.
happening.
Yep.
So, we thought you guys, it would be fun here on YouTube to share with you my chart. I know I'm a manifesting generator, but I think Adriana knows a lot more than I do about what that means. And then she also pulled up my chart. This is me. I'm like excited to know, but like a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Vulnerability. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Where do you want me to start? Like,
I
I feel like I
guess.
can dive into all of this. What
Well,
human design is?
yeah, let's start there. That's a great idea. Let's start with what human design actually is. I feel like everybody, that's a dumb thing for me to say, but I feel like it's in the zeitgeist right now. Like people sort of know, but let's hear
Yeah.
your definition of what it is and how it supports people.
Hmm. I know human design is definitely becoming more mainstream. So probably a lot of people in your world have heard of it somewhere. But it depends on the definition that you've heard of as to whether or not it's actually sunk into your body where you actually get what it is. So it
Hmm.
combines all these ancient systems, astrology, Kabbalah, Ching, quantum mechanics, the chakra system, and it put all of these systems into one and makes it a lot more. I know people look at this and they're like, this is so overwhelming, but believe it or not, this is so much more easily digestible than anything else. This is why I've always thought astrology was cool, but trying to understand it, like, I just blew my mind. I'm now
Hmm.
learning bits and pieces, but human design felt so much more intuitive for me. And it teaches you how you were designed to be at birth before the world conditioned you. And it's not like you were conditioned on purpose. In some circumstances, maybe you were, but it's, especially for women, stop being bossy, sit down, stop being the star of the show. You're not always in the spotlight. You're too much. I got that too much a lot. Diagnosed with ADHD. It's a very common manifesting generator type thing that we go through. So this is literally telling you who you were designed to be before you were told that you were wrong being that person. And ultimately, how to live as your truest self, how to listen to your body, to connect to your body. We've all had those moments where we were like, our gut told us something and we didn't listen, right? Everyone can
Totally.
resonate with that. That's your body talking to you. So if you can at least resonate with that, then just try dabbling in this world of human design and energetics and see what feels good and what resonates for you.
I love that. I love that. Okay, the quantum mechanics threw me. I was like,
Hmm.
what? That's in there too? Like,
Yes.
isn't that movie? What was it? What the bleep do we
What the
know?
bleep?
Right? What the bleep do
Yeah.
we know? I was like, that was anyway. That is
Yes.
so cool. So it really,
Yep.
it's almost like I feel like tell me if I have this right. I don't want to say this incorrectly, but it's like it's almost like a modern pull on all of the things that people have been using for centuries, right? It's like this kind of like a way to put it in an umbrella and really discuss what a human is here to do. And I love the idea that it's
Yes.
before the world wrote on us.
Yes. And it's like we're taking all these other culture systems that they've been living by for centuries, like a very long time. And we have, I guess, westernized it, made it more modern. Yes. So it's really important to also shed light on the fact that these are from very ancient systems, and other cultures have lived by these systems for their entire lives. So it is modern in our eyes, but also not really.
Okay. Okay. I got it. I got
Yeah.
it. So it's been around, but a new packaging, maybe?
Yes, new packaging,
New
totally.
packaging, like a new way
Yeah.
to discuss it. Yeah. Hey,
Yes,
we need packages, right? That helps us understand like what we're
exactly.
discussing. Okay.
Yep.
So over here at Team Sarah, it is October. You guys stay tuned for next week. Adriana's on the podcast. Um, it's money month, right? Like we're really talking about our relationship to money. And I know this is something like, when you were in the Abundance Academy too, that you and I discussed a lot. You guys would talk about it even more in the podcast episode. But what does human design have to do with how we interact with money? Like, what can we learn from that? And is that something that a lot of people come to you for? Or is it kind of like an effect?
Yes, and absolutely. So the overall human design journey, it's experimenting with your energy and you're deconditioning. So you're shedding back the layers, just like an onion of
Okay.
everything society has put upon you. So that can mean how you thought you were designed to sell, how you thought you were designed to run a business, or what you even thought you were supposed to do for work that's maybe not in actual alignment with your chart. So there's a lot at play here, but ultimately, when you do become aligned with what you were designed to do, things naturally become easier. This is where manifestation comes from. That whole term, I know people have really slaughtered it these days, but
Seriously.
this is energetic alignment. This is, quantum mechanics talks about all of this. It is when you are in alignment with the things that your body was designed to be doing here. It's like when you talk to a friend about a restaurant that you really love, and it's literally coming from a place of like you're obsessed with this restaurant and they can feel that energy. They're like, now I
Yeah.
need to go to this restaurant. That's that energy. So, not to say sales becomes automatically easy, it's still something you can learn based on the details of your chart. But overall, your energy behind what it is that you're doing, even if you're not an entrepreneur, even if you're in corporate or whatever, things, quote, magically seem to line up the more that you shed and release and come back to what's natural and authentic to you. Now, there are other pieces within your design, like the heart center, where we do a lot of talk around money and self-worth, because the heart center is the center of the body graph that has to do with self-worth. And almost always, with everyone I'm working with, the self-worth is attached to how much money they think they can make.
Wait a minute. Not how much money they think, not, wait, hold on. How much money they think they can make, not how much money they actually have.
Right.
Wow. I just feel like dropping a mic right now because I
I
mean,
know. Hmm.
Coffee with Coach this month was about how money is not the cause, it's an effect,
Yes,
right?
that's
And
it.
how you're
Hmm.
thinking and behaving is the result,
Hmm. Yep.
that we call money. Okay, so say more about that. So if we think we can make more money, what gets in the way of that then inside of someone's chart? Like what could they learn about themselves to help them understand how to, like you said, remove all of the things people have written on them and actually come back to what's natural and
Mhm.
authentic to them? How does understanding human design in your chart support that?
So there's a lot of layers to this, but ultimately it is peeling back those little pieces at a time. It's what feels out of alignment for me here. So for example, looking at your chart, you are a manifesting generator and your what's called your not self theme. This is like your red flag that something's out of alignment is the feeling of frustration. If I say that to you, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yes. So when you're
I like
feeling
it annoying.
frustrated,
Yeah.
yes, that's a red flag that something's out of alignment. Maybe you're forcing when you're supposed to be slowing down and responding to what comes to you. That's the manifesting generator type. Maybe you made an incorrect decision. You're designed to make decisions right from the gut, not the logical thinking brain, literally from the gut. And it can be this little navigational tool that helps you understand, am I in alignment here or am I not? So if you're struggling around money and you're feeling your what's called your not self theme, I should say, if you want to download your chart, you can do it right on my website, adrianakeefe.com. That way you can follow along with your information. And that not self theme is going to help you understand when maybe you're not making a lot of money and you're noticing you're feeling frustrated. Okay, that means whatever we're trying to do right now to make the money is not in alignment for us. And that could be cold calling, email sequences. Like everyone is so different. It could be you're trying to force yourself to be on social media when you're not designed to show up like that. There's a lot of moving parts to this. But what I really love about your chart, looking at it, actually, can I just like decode your chart for a hot second? Because
Okay.
totally relates. So, looking at your manifesting generator in general, this is what I am as well. We're very energetic. We're very multi-passionate, multi-hyphenate people. We can't stick with one thing forever. We need to add layers onto what we do and keep it interesting. We need a challenge. So you're here to build upon the things that you learned, that is in your profile line 1, and see how you can tweak things and make them better and more efficient in your eyes. And then you have this thing called your profile line 5, which is literally making things more practical and simple and easier to digest. That's literally how you're designed to function. And that's everything that you do in your work. Would you agree?
You just blew my mind a little bit. Yes. I
Yes.
mean, I remember getting my
Yep.
English major and people were like, "Why are you getting an English major?" I said, "Because everybody, any industry, you need to be able to break down complex ideas so
Yeah.
anyone can understand them." And that is like my favorite thing to do when someone's
Hmm.
like looking at me like the RCA dog, they're like, "Mm?"
Yeah.
And I love to be able to just be like, "No, no, no, it's like this." Or that is like one of my favorite things to do, but that's actually in my chart by
Yep.
design.
Yep. Your profile, it's like the archetype of your personality is a 5-1. 5-1 is simplicity, practicality, systems, efficiency. And that line 1 is the investigator. So you're a lifelong learner of the things that you're teaching, and then you make them more simple for people to understand in your world. That's why when I learned abundance from the Sarah Walton like frame of perspective, I was like mind blown. This makes so much more sense because you were made to literally make it more digestible for people.
You just blew my mind. Okay,
Oh,
well,
you're
I'll take
welcome.
that. I mean, that seems right to me.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so far we've learned if I'm frustrated, that's a red flag that something has gone awry somewhere.
Yep.
And that I am by design here to help make things easier to understand. Yeah?
Yes. Yep.
Holy crap. Okay.
Yep. And
And
to
I'm
add in the heart center element,
okay.
your heart center. So again, our hearts are all about ego and willpower and money, material things.
Okay.
And within the human design system, you can have a center defined, which means you have consistent access to that energy that's like very unique to you and consistent and reliable for you. If you don't have it defined, it's open, and this can ebb and flow based on who you're around. Your heart center is completely open, which I have as well, which means that you're taking in all the wisdom of everyone else around you, their self-worth, their sense of money, their sense of ego. Now, that's a gift because you're collecting wisdom. The shadow of the open heart is this deep, unfulfilling feeling of low self-worth and struggling with self-worth, therefore struggling to put your worth into things like the energetics of money. And why I think you were such an expander for me is because I also have that open heart center and I've struggled with that self-worth. And you've shown me through your work that it's still very possible to make a lot of money doing things that you love with that open heart center. Whereas like early human design stuff kind of just didn't speak the best about, making money and having that definition in the heart center. So there was a lot of cloudiness there, but you are living proof that you can still make a lot of money and do all of that through the open heart center.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome.
And it's funny, I was thinking about one of my major romantic relationships in my life, right? And this person just lived in massive fear of money.
Mm,
And when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, I absorbed that. I
yes.
didn't
Yeah.
even think about it, but I started to, and I'd never had that. And all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden I had it. Even the way I was raised, it was always like, no, there'll be enough, there'll be enough. And all of a sudden there wasn't. And so you're saying that's actually the shadow piece of being so open as we can pick up other people's as well. And that feeds into the lack of self-worth, or is the self-worth always there no matter what as part of that shadow?
The self-worth is a piece that you are here to learn through. So
Got it. Okay.
every sense of openness is more like a learning curve. You have to find what's consistent for you. The openness is not what I would consider to be a shadow. I'd consider that to be a gift
Got it.
because you can
Okay.
like sample other people's energy and find what feels good and release what doesn't.
Okay. So
Mhm.
it's almost like could we call it like a filter almost? Like we get to bring everything in and then we sort of keep what works and learn what doesn't?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's why it's a gift.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm glad I clarified that because I was like, oh,
Mm.
I have to be like, I always say who you hang out with matters. I'm like, I gotta be super careful. I'm open. I'm like, oh my gosh, but
Yes.
not to be afraid of it, rather just to use it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And the awareness is the biggest piece because if you are aware that you have this, then if you feel an energy that doesn't feel like you can literally say, "Oh, this isn't mine. I'm going to release this."
Got it. Okay. Okay, good. All right. And let's go back to somebody using this. Like, let's say somebody's watching this and they're like, never heard of it, don't know. Ha, mama. And then they decide, okay, look, I got to find out what my human design chart says. What is, or how would you support somebody or advise somebody to really take this information and start implementing it? So let's say I find myself frustrated later today. You've just taught me that because of my chart, that's a red flag for me that something's out of alignment. What's the best thing for me to do with that information? Like, how can I integrate that into my life and really use the knowledge of my human design chart to support myself or support others?
I love this question. So we now know that awareness is like the key to everything because now instead of spiraling and reeling on those thoughts and that frustration, you can
Mm,
catch it in that moment and ask yourself how you can choose to look at things differently. Now, when you are starting to dive into your human design experience, I call it the top three that you can just pay attention to and start to integrate into your life without having to go into any of the overwhelming details. And that is your type, strategy, and authority. So we know your type is a manifesting generator. Your authority is your decision making process. And we know you are sacral. That's a gut response. That's quick. What does your body say in response to something? And then your strategy for any generator type, the strategy is about the aura that is around you. And if anyone's not familiar with the word aura, it's an electromagnetic field that extends around you. And this is scientifically proven for all my fellow science nerds out there. And your aura is actually designed to bring things to you. You're not designed to actually go out and initiate and push and try to bring things to fruition. You're supposed to pay attention to your external world to see what signs, synchronicities, what do people keep asking you for? What can
mm.
you respond to in your outer world? So if you are feeling frustrated, I would first ask yourself, are you trying to push and force something? Are you doing this from like a body sensation? Yes, it depends on your authority. Or are you trying to push through based on what someone else has told you? And I would also ask yourself, wait, how am I trying to word this? I feel like I can't think of the right word now, so I might have to come back to that. I have to
No
be
worries.
careful with my words in this because if you say something, it can be very triggering, especially because many of us aren't. This is also new, and we feel like, oh my God, I've been the wrong person for this long. And I
Oh,
want you to not
interesting.
judge or shame yourself for any of this. It is just an act of noticing. But I lost what that third word was going to be. We'll come back to that.
Okay,
It'll
I'll go.
come
It's going to come when it comes, right? Especially
Yes.
because that's the thing. So teach me more about, or if you're willing, I should be a little bit more gentle. I'm like, teach me everything. I'm so excited right now. So I want to know a little bit more about the aura. I want to understand how that's been studied. Like it's so because Taylor Swift is my Roman Empire, right? So you're doing that, and I'm hearing the song "Gorgeous." You should take a little bit more responsibility for your aura being so strong, right? Like that's one of her songs, and I was
Is
like,
it
how did that come
really?
to mind?
I
I
love
just
that.
I have issues. But anyway, yeah, I'd love to know more about like what is that and what can we do with it? Like
Mhm.
how can we work with it? How do we understand when
Mm.
someone's aura isn't great for us or we're feeling really attracted to someone? What is that like and how does it work?
Mm. So the human design system, the way that the types are created is through your aura. So with everything I'm about to say, just remember that like if you're looking at your chart, you're learning this through the lens of type and strategy. So like for generators and manifesting generators, our aura, this is actually something I had someone pick up with tuning forks one time. Because the generator aura is very big and enveloping, and we tend to be noticed when we walk into a room.
Mhm.
And it's designed that way in order to bring things to you instead of you having to go out and force and manipulate and find. And I was having a tuning fork session one time, and she was just like, your aura is huge. And I was like, I know, thank you. And I was like, that's a generator thing. And I actually asked her to like keep an eye on if she knew anyone's human design and like how the tuning forks responded. I don't know if you're familiar with how tuning forks work. but like she can
Frequency,
pick up
right?
energy. What was that?
It like aligns to different frequencies. Is that right? Do I have
Yes.
that right? Okay.
Yeah, and then once the tuning fork would get like out of your aura, it would make a different sound. So she was able to literally find like where the aura was around
Oh,
me. Yeah, it was very cool, very interesting. There's a lot of really cool I don't know if documentaries are the right word on the Gaia app. I don't know if you have that or
I
ever watched
don't.
that on TV. It's a whole TV thing platform. So they have a lot of interesting stuff on the work that they've done with auras and all of that. And then all the other types in human design have a different aura. So, like manifestors, their aura is closed. There are going to be people who you find it really hard to read them. Whereas us generator types, like we're pretty easily readable in most situations. Like you can usually tell what we're thinking or who we like, who we don't like. But the manifestors, that is literally closed. So it's almost like they're holding their energy closer to their chest.
Huh.
And then projectors have an aura that's very penetrating. So literally it's working all the time, moving into your aura to identify like what needs to be fixed. They're very great guides, teachers, leaders. So they're trying to fix things all the time. So it literally, when you're around other projectors, you might start to notice that they have a lot of advice to give you. Maybe you feel a little bit fatigued because they're also like diving into your energy and pulling out bits and pieces that they can use to help you. And then we have reflectors, which are only 1% of the population. So we don't have a lot of reflectors in our world. And their aura, well, they're constantly picking up the energies of the world around them and reflecting it back out. So their aura is almost like Teflon. So it literally
Wow.
bounces energy off of them in order to keep their centers, all of their centers are open. So to keep their centers safe, they have like this Teflon energy around them. I'd be super curious to see like what tuning forks pick up with a reflector type of aura to see what that says. But I would check like Gaia for documentaries on actually like the studies of auras. And I feel like Joe Dispenza actually talks about it too in his work, I think.
I think he does. Yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty big Joe Dispenza fan, but I certainly haven't
Yeah.
consumed everything he's ever created. But this idea is so intriguing to me because Adrian, I don't know if you've had this experience, but sometimes I'll walk in a room and someone will be like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I don't know, nobody." I'm like, "I don't know." You
Yeah.
know? I mean, it was really
Yep.
funny. I was at a bar mitzvah this weekend, and the photographer was like, "I know you." I'm like, "You don't though." But and then he pieced it together. But it's like it's so interesting that I've always had that happen, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I just look like people. That's what I'm like.
They just look like people.
I just look like everybody. It's funny.
Yeah, no,
But
it's a very big aura that we have. Yeah.
interesting. Do you have that experience too when you walk into rooms or people like you said, people
Yeah,
notice?
it made me very uncomfortable most of my life. I'm just now starting to embrace it. But yeah, I like it would be as bad as like if I'm crossing a street, I have to put my sunglasses on because I feel like everyone's staring at me and I don't want to be seen. It's a lot of
Wow.
trauma that was brought up with that. Yeah,
Wow. Oh my
yeah.
God, that's amazing.
I still
Because
get
it can just feel
uncomfortable.
open. You're just like, I
Yeah,
don't feel like that right now. I just want to go to the grocery store. Okay.
yeah,
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 I got that. I totally
yeah.
get that. Okay. So, oh my gosh. So we've gone through what someone can do with human design. We've gone through, so you said the heart center.
Mm.
We've gone through the manifesting generators that we both are. And my lines are 5 and 1. So I know, okay. So some people are like they're like, okay, I want to work with these women. I don't want to work with these based on what they know about human design,
Yeah.
right? They're like, yes, bring me more. But I want to know what other centers are there. So we kind of broke down the
Mm.
heart center. What are the other centers? Like you were saying, their centers are all open. And so it's like, who, I don't even know how I want to word this question, but like, how can you tell? Maybe that's the best way. How can you tell for yourself if one of your centers is truly open?
Mm.
And what are
So
they?
when you download your body graph, you will see the different centers. And if it's colored in a center, that means that you have that consistent, reliable energy. So,
Okay.
like your sacral gut response, you have that defined in your chart, giving you a reliable work life force energy, like that go, go, go energy. Um, you also have the defined or definition in your head and your ajna. So if you're familiar with the chakra system, this is like the crown and the third eye. that makes you really good at data processing, and you want to like formulate things. And I'm so open up here, literally very open. And I will like throw a bunch of stuff at you and you're like, oh, what if you just package it this way, systematize it this way, put it into this, and boom, you're done. And I'm like, cool, that would have created so much pressure in my head, but you have the gift of that consistent, reliable energy of formulating all of that as you go through your day. I don't have that. Can't even imagine what that feels like. Good for you.
What does it say? Right. Yeah.
And then we have the square, that's the third one, and that's your throat. That's
Mm.
communication, bringing things into form, manifestation in actual terms. And then we have the G center right in the middle. The G was a split off of the heart from the chakra system. So the G center is all about self-love, sense of identity, sense of direction. You are actually completely open here as well. And what you do in this center is reflect back people's sense of purpose because you're taking in their energy, right? So
Mm.
now looking back on the work that I did with you, it makes so much sense why you were able to build so much confidence in me. You're literally designed to see my purpose and reflect it back to me. So that's how one of the biggest ways that you helped me because I'm defined there. And then you have the heart center, which is right next to it. Underneath that, there's the solar plexus. This is all emotions and
Yeah.
moods and
Okay.
spirit consciousness. The sacral is in the middle on the bottom. And then we have the spleen, which is all health, safety, sense of survival, intuition. And on the bottom square is the root. So this is all pressure, drive, stress, adrenals, all of that. So if you have anything not colored in, it's called open or undefined. And this
Okay.
is just that you're taking in information from the world around you. Sometimes being conditioned, yes, but we can be conditioned in all of the centers. I don't believe it's just an open center thing. And you get to ebb and flow based on who you're around, borrow energy. Like I love to go sit in a coffee shop because especially if I can't figure out what to write or something, I'll be borrowing other people's energy. I don't even have to know what their chart's like, but I'm able to use all the energy I don't normally have in order to get something done.
Mm.
I think I touched all of them. Yes, I did.
Gosh, that was really cool. And is it aligned with the chakra like centers? I guess they're centers too,
Yeah.
aren't they? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of. Yes. There's like,
Yeah.
it looks like a body. So like there's some out to the side, but yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it's not aligned like it can be for the
no, a
chakra
little
that
bit
we'll talk
different.
about. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, I want to know just a tiny bit more about the health center. You said that's the spleen center. Yeah.
Spleen. Yep.
Did I get this question a lot? Because and because you've worked with me, right? Like I consider health as an entrepreneur one of our biggest business assets, right? Because if we don't
Mm-hmm.
feel well, we're not healthy, we're not sleeping, we're not hydrated, all those things, we just feel awful and we can't perform to the best of our ability.
Yep.
What can someone learn from understanding their spleen center and how can they like apply it?
Mm. That's a good question. So basics. If you have an open spleen, then you might find that maybe you got sick often as a child. Maybe you hate going in hospitals because you take in all of that,
Oh,
the health factor, right?
okay.
Maybe you struggle with fear. Maybe it's not very easy and consistent for you to move through fear. You've had to develop and learn how that can feel for you, and maybe it changes how you choose to. If you're defined there, which is how I am, I have a consistent way of moving through fear. I have a consistent way of moving through illness. I don't mind being in hospitals. Like that stuff doesn't bother me. Those are just general ideas of based on the center. But then you'll have different what are called gates in each of the centers. And gates are like your energetic gifts. And believe it or not, you have one. This makes so much sense. So every center is good. You're like, yes, tell me
Like
more.
tell me the things.
Every
Yeah.
center's gates are going to have the theme based on that center, right? So we know with the spleen, every energetic gift you have here is going to have to do with intuition or safety, survival in some way. And just like in astrology, you have the sun, the moon, the nodes, all of that within your human design chart. So your earth, this is like your grounding force. This is a big imprint of yours is coming from the spleen. It's called the gate of improving. And you are what grounds you is literally helping yourself and helping others heal the scars left by society. Like that is the learning learning from the past
Wow.
and moving for like doing the inner work to move forward and heal yourself and improve. That's literally your grounding force. That's got to resonate with you, right?
Not
Yeah.
many people leave me speechless, Adriana. It's like, I mean,
Yeah.
come on. I mean, especially
Yep.
talking because I do so much around money for women, right? And it's always about healing.
It
Always,
is.
because and
Yep.
you just nailed it too, the very beginning of our live stream here, that um that really it depends on someone's belief in how much they can make. And if
Hmm.
you have been, you know, bombarded with lies, or you've been told you're worthless, or you women can't handle money, like whatever those societal scars are that
Yep.
got written on you, until they're healed, making
Hmm.
money is quite difficult. And that's why, it's why I started the Abundance Academy, because I think there's so much healing that needs to be done. So yeah, I think that about nailed it. I didn't expect you to say that,
Hmm.
by the way, talking about a spleen. That's amazing.
Yeah. Do you see how you're literally designed all the intricacies come to play together so that you can do the work that you're here to do? It's
Wow.
all these tiny pieces. Like, yes, we need to do the inner healing. That's why you found it a part of your grounding force throughout your life. And now you're here to teach that to other people. Yeah, it's so interesting how when we start to piece all this together, we're like, oh my God, that's literally what I'm doing. Yes.
Yeah, everything makes sense all of a sudden. I'm like,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, so
No,
it
it's
had,
true.
the spleen can have anything to do with everything we've mentioned so far. And it can also be like ancestral healing, like cellular memory, things that you've brought down that through lifetimes you have learned, your lineage has learned, and what you are here to bring to the world today.
Well, okay. I don't even know what to say after that. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, I
Um,
haven't looked at your chart like in a long time. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, it makes so much sense.
does. I'm really stunned,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot to get me to not talk. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
impressive. Uh, you're like, I know, Sarah, I know. Um, so, Adriana, I love this so much. And what I want to do right now is sort of give anybody who's watching this, you guys, we're gonna be talking about this live stream for a while. Like I said, Adriana is on the podcast week after next. Um, I really want to support people who are interested in understanding more about themselves, right? Really being like, okay, I know who I know I got to figure out who I am. I got to understand what my red flags are. I really want to make a difference in my business, in my health, in my relationships, in my money. Um, what do you think people could do to work with you to really get into that the best? Because I know you have several ways people can work with you.
I do. The best and fastest way would be the full immersion retreat that we have in just 3 weeks in Florida. That would be like a heavy hitter. Like, I know that I need to like clear this stuff and move on with my life, especially before the holidays. Like, this is the most for moms, especially. This is supposed to be the happiest time of year. And I feel like it's not for most moms.
Truth
So,
bomb.
yeah,
Yeah.
truth bomb. So, imagine actually clearing a lot of that within you through human design, through Reiki. My business partner in it is doing Reiki clearing every single day. And we're like literally creating a new paradigm for you. So, that would be the quickest, fastest way to start implementing human design. And you don't need to know anything about human design. We're doing human design workshops there. You're going to have
Okay.
an individual reading there and all of that. And so that's November 7th. But we do have one room left that we have to book before the end of this week. Then we have to shut the doors to it
Okay.
and get that final head count. Other
Okay.
than that, I do one-off chart readings. So if you're just interested in diving into a chart, then you can book that right on my website. I have a group program, but that is currently in session, probably won't open again until next fall. And then
Okay.
I have one-to-one coaching and a membership community as well. See, manifesting generator, do all the things.
So true, right? You guys,
Yeah.
I just dropped a link to the retreat in the
Oh, nice.
chat.
Thank you.
So it'll be there for you, all of you watching, whether you catch the replay or you're with us live. I think it's so important to do stuff like that. I have a business retreat
Mhm.
coming up in November too, just for myself that I'm actually going on. And I just think it's so important for us to come
Yes.
together. The healing, the cleaning,
Yeah.
the prep. And I totally agree with you. I
Mhm.
think the end of the year is really tough on us.
Yeah.
And, for business owners, it's also a really great time to look back on life. on the
It
year
really
and
is.
life and be like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, what happened? What worked? What didn't? What did I love?
Mm-hmm.
What did I hate? What do I need to tweak? Yeah, because I'm a tweaker, right, Adriana?
Exactly. How can we make this
I'm
easier?
gonna make you tweak.
Yes. And I will say in 2025, that's where I'm putting all of my money to is into more retreats, like getting into more of those spaces where I'm not leading, but where I can
Yes.
just receive. And that's something that we're so passionate. My partner's name is Viola, and we're so passionate about giving to the other women because we're so constantly taking care of everyone else every single
Yeah.
day. Like when you come to this retreat, you have every meal brought to you. You literally are catered to the entire, like you don't have to think about a damn thing except for getting yourself there. And that's the kind of space I personally need too. And so in 2025, that's like everything. Where are you going for your retreat?
San Diego. I'm actually really
Nice.
excited. Yep. I'm going to get to see my dad. I have a friend
Wow.
who lives on the East Coast who's going to be out there at the exact same time.
Oh
Like it's
no
just
way.
magical. Yeah. And it's like, I really need that. This has been one of those
Yeah.
years I have really listened. I've really slowed down the business and we've done great financially, which is, again, when you listen to your human design, it just works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I think this is a year for me to really reflect on because I think we did it really well. The team is thriving. We're
That's
looking at
awesome.
bringing coaches into the Abundance Academy to support all of our students there. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just excited. I'm just
That's
excited. It's just been
awesome.
a great year and I want to do more like that. I'm with you on that. It's funny that we have two manifesting generators who are like, retreats.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, just surrounding yourself with more like-minded people. I mean, you and I
Yeah.
both live by that, like surrounding yourself with the people who are doing things that you want to do. It's really important.
It really is. It really is. Oh my gosh. Well, Adriana, thank you so much for spending time with all of us today. I just so appreciate you. I appreciate your work. As you know, I think what you're doing is really important.
Thank
And,
you.
the message for women to come home to who you really are,
Mm,
regardless of what society has tried to tell
yes.
you are.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Best
Yes.
message yet.